Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am so excited because it is ROP time, Real Housewives of Potomac season 10, and we are getting into episode 1. It's my favorite time of year. I mean, Real Housewives of Potomac, they are some of my favorite ladies. We have the biggest liar of ever gone, that is Mia, and honestly, I didn't even remember that Mia was gone until they flashed back to the first part of the reunion before she walked out. And I was like, oh, I forgot about her. But she is replaced with Stacey. And honestly, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I do understand why the women are so like Stacey needs to bring her real life, because there have been things, whether I like the Housewives or not, that I'm sure they would have loved to lie about, love not to have been truthful about. However, they do come and live their real-ish lives, right? So I can understand why they're irritated by the TJ of it all, irritated by getting back with the husband of it all. I totally understand, but at the same time, Stacey is a very entertaining liar. She is a very entertaining liar. But before we get there, the big elephant in the room is that Karen is not here. Karen is in jail. Well, not currently. She is not currently in jail. But what we're watching, she is in prison, okay? From what I understand, we are going to be getting like a life after lockup little segment with Andy and her. And I can't wait for that. It'll be very interesting to see what she has to say. I really hope that we have a driver. I really hope that we are limiting our alcohol intake, if not cutting it out completely. And you know what? I was going to say baby steps. However, Karen ain't got baby steps in her. Karen ain't got baby steps in her. I'm sorry, but we're gonna put the Grand Dame to the side for right now and get back into Stacey's lying ass. What do you mean you had to grow apart so you could grow back together? Were you even ever apart? Because I remember last season, she told us that they still had the familial home, and that her and him were just having their own separate apartments, and they were keeping Arabella in her room. So did you really grow apart? Because Ashley Darby, divorce detective, says there's no record of a divorce or even a separation in the Virginia circuit court system. So, and the fact that he's so willing to be on camera now, I was like, interesting. Was he not willing to be on camera? I don't know. Now, let's get into Kiarna. So, I was really trying to give Kay a chance. I really was. Greg last year, ooh, that was a lot. Him, them toes, that attitude, it was too much for me. It really was. And so I feel like this year she is trying to keep the focus on her relationship with the women and off of Greg. And we know he doesn't want to be on camera. So I do feel like that's another breakup that's kind of faked, right? And I do also feel like if it weren't for Karen going to jail, then Kay would not be a full-time housewife. But that's just me. I like that her mom showed up and was like, listen, the family, we're not happy with what we saw. And we really did like him, but I raised you to be better and to want better and expect to be treated better. And Greg ain't it. I was like, thank you. He is not, okay? Never mind, I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself there with that one. But when it comes to Kiarna's dynamic to the group, before I get into this, I had a thought. I'm wondering if Kay is kind of acting like this towards Wendy, not only to have a storyline, but do you remember how she and Karen really formed a closeness? It seems like Kay is Karen's new pet. That's a little bit what it's giving. And we know that, first of all, Wendy is the one that felt betrayed by Karen talking shit about her. And then now Karen's like, actually, I have a problem with Wendy. Girl, please, you need to have a problem with the commissary. Okay, Karen, we got bigger. Have a problem with Stella. Or have a problem with Stella Artois. All right? I can't, but we'll get there later in the season, I'm sure. The energy that Kiarna came in to Wendy with at the second Bloom party, I was just like, see, you're telling us and you're telling Angel, the new woman, that you really think XYZ of your friendship with Wendy. However, what she's giving me from what I'm seeing her, how I'm seeing her interact with Wendy, it's not giving a friendship that I want to mend. It's giving a friendship that I want to pick with. And we also know that Kiarna is growing close to Giselle. Now, Wendy and Giselle have seemingly fixed their problems. They're not beefing anymore. I'm just getting a little tinge of the old recipe with the new girls coming in from Kiarna, and I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I like that. So, Kay says that her 3 main things with Wendy are she was acting funny at the NAACP luncheon, and Wendy asked her, did you do your own makeup? To me, I don't think that's the shade that Kiarna thinks it is, depending on the tone in which it was said in, right? And Kiarna is really giving me that friend, you know, that friend that we all kind of have, especially in our younger years, that always is looking for a problem with somebody. Her energy is weird, but she says everybody else's energy is weird. And it's actually like, no, you're the weirdo, right? She's a friend that comes up to the party and she's like, I just don't deal with disrespect. And that's on me. If y'all want to be treated like that, that's on y'all, but I'm requiring higher for myself. And it's like, can you relax? Can you relax? If you are looking for shade, you will catch shade, all right? You really will. Like going through a partner's phone. If you go through that phone because you are already in there, you're going to be like, oh, you know what? Actually, I don't like that. That's how I see it. I don't have a recording. I don't have any evidence of how Wendy said, did you do your own makeup? I'm not really willing to give her that one, especially also because Kiarna has her own skincare line. She has like, I don't know if she's an esthetician, but she does skincare stuff and they're out of town. It could be like, did you find glam or did you do your own makeup? Like, we don't know the context, okay? And y'all know how I feel about talking about stuff that we are not witnessing. I do not like when these housewives bring off-season issues that we are never going to get the evidence, the tone that we can judge for ourselves. Like, okay, yeah, Wendy was moving funny. I don't like that. All you have to go off of then is relying on if the audience likes that person or not. So that's what I have to say about that. The second strike against Wendy was her not telling her that she was going to be a speaker at this event when Kiarna was telling Wendy that she was sponsoring the event. Wendy's reply was, you were speaking to me and we were celebrating you. I did not think it was the right time to be like, okay, I'm also going to be a speaker at the event because I did not want to take away from you because you were really excited. And this is my thing. This is why I came to the conclusion. I said, yeah, Kiarna just looking for a problem. Kiarna's response goes, okay, I'll give you that one. And blah, blah. If I am really, if I'm talking to my friend and I'm like, and they say that, I'm saying, oh, okay, I can understand that. Thanks for clearing that up. And okay, thank you for, giving me that time. I didn't think about it like that. But she was just like, okay, I'll give you that. As if we were taking tally and this is, I don't know. I didn't like it. Okay, and then the third one, which I think is the most ridiculous. And I've been seeing some of the conversation online, and it seems to me, again, like all you have to rely on is if people are like, they like Wendy or they don't like Wendy, and they say, well, Wendy been acting funny. Wendy act funny. She thinks she's the best person in the room, blah, 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 blah. Wendy is speaking at this event that Kiarna is sponsoring. I don't know if Kiarna was late. She wasn't in a room when the speech started, okay? She walks into the room where Wendy is speaking, addressing the crowd. And she is upset because Wendy did not give her a nod, stop in the middle of her speech, say hello, give her a little wave, a little wink, a little something, while she's speaking. Y'all, I'm sorry. This is so ridiculous to me. To me, in the words of Frankie Blue, it is ridiculous. I am up here giving a speech You want me to stop my speech and give attention to you who you're walking in late. You're walking in late. You want me to draw attention to you walking in late? And something tells me by Kiana's logic of looking for an issue, she would have said, if Wendy would have done that, she would have been like, I don't know why you had to do that while you were giving a speech, highlighting that I was late or I was walking in tardy or whatever. I honestly, I'm sorry. I was with Wendy all the way. I would have been like, and then here are my minor strikes against Kiana. Two things. Her attitude is just, ugh. While I am absolutely a person that when you walk into a room, you need to speak, not while somebody's giving a speech. Okay, but when I address an intimate room, when I walk up to a group of people, I speak to everyone, okay? So when Stacy walked up to them and she did not say hi to Kay, I am all for Kay being like, hey, Stacy, like, damn, girl, you gonna walk over here and not say anything? But Kiana went, hey, Stacy, you putting your hands in people's face. Ain't you suing somebody because you got popped a couple seasons ago? I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should do that, Kay. Like, again, I'm all here for, oh, hey, Stacy, since you want to walk up to the group and not address me. But all this, no, baby, no. And then my second minor strike against Kay. When she sat down while Giselle and Wendy were having a conversation, in the middle of a conversation, and Wendy continued, she interrupts the conversation and says, see, I think that's rude because I sat down here and you didn't say hello. I'm in the middle of a conversation. Also, I will say this, and I'm gonna take this out on the editors. That scene was cut a little weird, in my opinion, because it made it seem like Giselle and Wendy's conversation was done, but then when it cut back in, it seemed like it was still very much so happening. So that was weird within itself. But I will say this. If I know that you are walking around a room, you're telling other people I have a problem with you, yada, yada, doody, I'm not going to be the most enthusiastic about talking to you, even if we're friends. Actually, especially if we're friends. If we're supposed to be friends and you're telling ABC person that you are upset with me before coming to talk to me, I am irritated by that. And especially if we have these cameras, we're on a TV show together, because in reality, I would hope that you would not do that. You wouldn't tell everybody. You would just come to me. But that's just me, okay? Now, when it comes to Stacy's breath, unfortunately, I have heard that it is less than welcoming. What's coming out of her mouth, and that is coming from multiple different sources in the Bravoverse. And unfortunately, listen, I say this, we have all had a time or two where we have gone to dinner, had some drinks, something, and maybe the breath is not super fresh. Me, I keep some gum on me, okay? I keep some gum on me. But when it becomes a pattern, that's when it gets very, But it really seems like it's going to be Stacy versus everybody this season. And for that, I'm very interested in, because she has a lot of lies to untangle. She told a bold-faced lie to Wendy at the reunion about not starting her own cannabis company. She has clearly been lying about her marital status and what's really going on. I would love to know who the actress is that everybody has apparently seen the documents from, saying that TJ is suing Stacy. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. But I'm so excited for this season of Real Housewives of Potomac. I also love that we have finally gotten to a place in Potomac that I think we finally unraveled a lot of the alliances, a lot of the deep-seated beefs, that we get to see different dynamics shifting in the group. I also forgot that Monique was coming back this season. And while I'm not the biggest Monique fan, I am excited. I'm not necessarily a Monique hater, right? Actually, when the fight happened, at first I was on Monique's side. However, I have since changed my mind and all those things, and we'll get into that later in the season. But I'm happy to be covering Real Housewives of Potomac season 10 with you here on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to drop down and comment and let me know how you are feeling about the season premiere and what you're most excited to see this season. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.